Okay, Team Impact, we're moving on today. Today's our geometry, start up our geometry unit. The packet's going to look like this. Certainly put your name at the top, and we're going to get started here. We're going to get some vocab. It's a good chapter. As usual, it starts off pretty easy, and then it progresses more difficult concepts. So, hey, excuse me. Let's get after this thing. Here we go. Area is the surface measurement of a two-dimensional figure. We think of it as a square units that a shape covers. So if you look down here a little bit, you'll see that this is a rectangle and a rectangle and this is a square, but they're always in little boxes, and these are what we call a square unit, whether it's inches, whether it's centimeters, whether it's feet. All right, this is 1 by 1 by 1 by 1 of that unit. We'll talk more about that, right? Use the formula of area equals base times height, or you could use area equals length times width. It's the same. Where B is the base, right? It's the base. And H is the height of the rectangle. Area is measured in square units. Square units. Okay. So how do we label that? And if it was an inches by inches or inches time, it would be inches square. And don't forget, inches has a period after it. If it's feet and feet, it's feet square. Okay, and if it's meters and meters, it's meters square, right? And we want to label those pieces there, as they say, right? Okay, so let's continue on down here. We have a square, a rectangle, excuse me, and let's go ahead and figure this out. Area is base times height, and the base is going to be 5. And the height is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7. 5 times 7. The area is going to be 35. And since there's no label, it's unit square. Unit square. And we'll just call that U. Right? And again, formula is area is length times width. I'm going to interchange them. And it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's going to be 54 units square, because 9 times 6 is 54. And again, with a square, it's a little bit different. There's actually a third formula. Area is length times width, or we could area is a side square, right? And you'll see what I mean in a minute. But 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 fours are 16, or 4 square is 16 units square. So that works as well for that. Okay. All right. Let's keep rolling on here. Okay. Next up is the area, and now they're just going to give us some decimals or some rational numbers. So again, area is base times height. It's 3 times 8.6. And it's in centimeters, so I'm going to label that. 3 times 6 is 18, carry the 1, 24 and 25. I have 1 decimal to the right. It's centimeters square, and I like to circle that final answer. So I'm trying to multiply it instead of setting it up like that, all right? I'm trying to do it laterally instead of horizontally or vertically, all right? Horizontally, excuse me, instead of vertically. All right, next one. Area is length times width. So this is 2 1/4 times 1 1/2, right? 2 1/4 times 1 1/2. And this is one where I would grab my calculator. Okay. And if it will turn on, there it went. So let's enter it. 2 unit, 1 down arrow 4 to the right times 1 1/2. And does it need simplified? No, I think it's 3 3/8. And again, that's feet square. Feet square. Okay? And we could circle that, right? So we could. We can also solve for any missing piece of information in the formula by solving a one-step equation, what we just had a test on, right? So area equals base times height can be written as base equals the area divided by the height, or the height equals the area divided by the base, by the base. Okay, you'll see what I mean in just a minute. Let's flip the page and take a little peek at it here, okay? So we have our formula, area is base times height. Now, the area of the rectangle is 162, all right? They're giving us the length or the base. We want the height or the width, whatever you want to call it. So the way that I would do this to keep this easy is a little bit different than what they do. If you think of it this way, I have the area. They're telling me because that's in square units. I would put that under the A. I'm looking for the B, but I have that. So that's how I would write it. And now it's real easy for me to understand. I'm going to divide both sides by 18, grab my calculator, right? And 162 divided by the 18 is 9. So the base is 9 meters, not square meters, because we already have the area. When I plug in the values, I just did my work there. Okay. So to me, that makes just a little more sense when I do that, right? Okay. All right. Circle all the formulas below that could be used to find the height of a rectangle with a base of 11 and an area of 120. Well, 11 times 11 doesn't give us that, so that's not it. So if we were to set this up, all right, 11 times some number is 120, and we divide both sides by 11, yep, that works. And then if we have the height, no, they got these numbers backwards. This should be the dividend on top, and the 11 should be the divisor. And the 120 and the 11, they flip. This should be over here, and this should be over here, right? But that would work as well, okay? All right, so let's move on to our next figure, which is a parallelogram. The dimensions of a parallelogram are also referred to as the base and the height. Use the formula, same formula, folks. Area is base times height, or area is length times width. It works, right? It works. Now, there's a caveat here, where B is the length of the base and H is the height of the parallelogram, which makes a 90-degree angle, all right, with its base. It is what we call perpendicular. And we're always looking for that box right there, perpendicular. Okay, so if you look down here, you'll see it here and here. Okay, so let's continue on. So parallelogram area is base times height. The base is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 4 times the height of 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Now, wait a second here, okay? Wait a second here. So we have a height and a base of the perpendicular, right? So when we look at this first parallelogram, all right, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times 4 is 16, and we'll call that unit square. Remember, they have to be perpendicular. If I cut that off, I cut this off, a parallelogram is now a rectangle or a square. Next one, we get out of that. Those are a little confusing, but area is base times height. So it's 4 times 9, which is 36 centimeters square. And if you know your math facts, life is great. We never use the slanted height unless we're looking for perimeter. Yep. Formula, area is base times height. All right, so our base is 2, and our height is 1 1/3. We're not using the slanted height unless we're looking for perimeter. Let's go ahead and grab our calculator. 2 times 1 1/3. And there it is, 2 2/3. And that's going to be in feet square. Feet square. So pretty good shape. One more to go here. All right. Let's take a little peeky peek at it. Mrs. Lewis asked students to sketch a figure with a base of 12. Okay. And a height of 6. Did the students complete the task correctly? Describe how the area of the rectangle and the area of the parallelogram have the same information. Okay, because we use the same formula, base times height. So it's 12 times 6. So on both of them, it's 12 times 6, all right? All right, because and what we're going to get with 12 times 6 is what is that? 72, and they're both in inches square, okay? But here's the thing. You see the base and the height on both of these are perpendicular, as you can see this. If I was to cut this off, I could put this right here. And now it's really just a rectangle, okay? So that formula will work for both, right? Okay, guys, let's flip the page. Your homework is here. Please show your work. Been on the phone with a lot of parents, not showing your work, not getting credit, and they're asking why. I said, well, they're just not following through. So please do that. Make sure you label correctly. Have a great day, guys.